And welcome back. So, you guys probably remember in a recent episode, we had on Mark Reeder talking all about the trucking industry and his experience. Well, we've got one better. We were talking about Hoyt trucking. We've got Hoyt today, and he's going to tell us all about his experience, which is going to be pretty amazing. So, stick with us. We have a great episode for you right after this on Miles and Mentors.
Welcome to Miles and Mentors, the podcast that humanizes trucking. Getting real-life advice and insights from logistics professionals from all over the industry. We sit down with those seasoned mentors who have put in the miles with a mission to pass on the knowledge gained from years in the industry to you. Now buckle up and enjoy the show.
Hey, Hoyt, thank you so much for joining in today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So for those that may not know who you are, if you wouldn't mind just to give us a more proper introduction of just who you are and kind of your role in the industry right now.
My name is Hoyt Moore. I have Hoyt's Truck Center. I have Hoyt's Trailer Center. At the Truck Center, we rebuild motors, transmissions, rear ends, everything but body work. Trailer Center, we take trailers down we do skins, all kinds of brake shoes, ABS, everything over there. We also sell trailers over there. We also have a leasing organization. We have about 85 pieces of equipment that we lease to different organizations. And to top it all off, I also have a trucking company, and we haul hazardous waste, mainly from the West Coast into the middle of the country. Run about 25 units under that, about 60 trailers. So.
Fantastic. So you have just a little bit of experience in the industry.
Yes, we do. We have a little bit.
That's fantastic, man. So I'm really curious. You're in depth in this. You've got your hands in kind of every aspect of the industry you can get in. What brought you here in the first place? What really got you into trucking?
Well, what got me into trucking was when I was a young man. Actually, it probably starts back at 10 years old. I had a father that owned a tire shop in Fort Collins, Colorado, Moore Tire Service. And I just had a passion for working. It didn't really matter what it was. So I was doing tires at 10 years old. At about 14 years old, didn't have a driver's license. So my sisters would drive me to the service calls, and I would perform the service calls, do the billing, everything. And finally, when I was able to get a license, then I started that. When I turned 18 years old, back then you could just go down and get a CDL. So I went and got a CDL. And at that point, I started with a trucking company and worked there for about 6-8 months. Then I ended up being the shop foreman right away. And that company actually fell on hard times. They went out of business. Left Colorado, moved to Topeka. They started up again, made it about 2 years, went out of business again. So then at about 22 years old, I started my own shop, and I worked at that for a little bit. Then I bought a semi and became an owner operator, drove for 2 years, and then started the shop back up, put a driver in that truck, and just multiplied from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, so one thing you said there that really caught my attention, you could just go down and get a CDL.
Yes. At 18 years old, I feel like, have we gotten dumber over the years? We have to have yes, I just went and got it at 18 years old, and it was like an accomplishment back then, is you just have to be reasonable, understand the mechanics of the truck, or what it can and can't do, and that's how you got your CDL.
Fair enough. Wow, that's surprising to hear, though, because I mean, you see it today, and that's a thick book, and a lot of
it seems like a lot of training that has to happen to drive.
For sure. Now, to put that into perspective, obviously, from that time, trucks have changed a lot. Would you say easier to drive back then versus today, or what's your opinion there?
No, I would say they're easier to drive today. The integration of ABS, I've seen that. The integration of automation in the transmission, that has really propelled the truck to be made a little more breakdown proof, a little more maintenance free.
Fantastic. I mean, especially for the owner operators. I mean, that's key.
Yes. They, owner operators kind of have an idea of long and tall, which is great.
Yeah.
But the modernization of the automatic transmission, the lower torque rating, getting better fuel mileage, less money going out the stack is really the goal for an owner operator.
100%. So I'm curious, you got into the industry and you started getting the experience you were getting. What made you have the drive to go out and say, hey, I want to open my own business and grow this versus going and just doing your careers like a company driver somewhere?
Well, actually, when I was 17 years old in a high school class,
Okay.
I had a shop teacher, and he was telling everybody what they're going to do for their lives, and I didn't know it at that time, but he told me. He says, I said, where do you think I'm going to work? He goes, you'll work for yourself your whole life. I didn't see it at that time, but he did, and
Wow.
he was right. I've worked for myself for ever since 20 years old, 21, 22. So
That's fantastic.
yeah.
So when you made that decision, you had that realization, I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to go. What was kind of your starting point to that? Where, how was it getting that off the ground?
Back then, I feel like everybody's put on this earth to do something. Okay.
Yeah.
And mechanicking really has came easy to me. I really enjoy figuring out how all things work, not just engines, transmissions, trucks.
Yeah.
I want to know the ins and outs of all of it. So I really think that's kind of something that I've been born with, has just propelled me into the industry to figure it out. And that includes rate per mile, cost per mile. What can we do to make tires last longer? What can we do to reduce our overhaul costs, our maintenance cost? So all of that, I think it's more of a joy for me to figure the problems out than to make money. And when you figure the problems out, the money comes.
Sure. No, that's a fantastic way to look at it. And, we were having this discussion the other day, and it was there, but it was this realization. Trucking is one of those industries, and I know every industry has those issues you got to figure out to how to make this thing a fine-tuning machine. But trucking is one of those ones that has so many calculations behind the scenes going on. It's really amazing to see the industry where it's at. I mean, down to fuel efficiency and, where to stop to get the best best prices on this, and just trying to keep it all together and going and keep more money coming in than going out. There's so much that goes into that mentally.
There is an awful lot of that. With us owning a trucking company and a breakdown on the road happens, we follow the same philosophy in our shop. We have to tell the customer whether we can get it done in a timely manner, or we can't get it done in a timely manner, so they can make decisions. They can pull the driver out of that area, fly him home, get him in another truck. All those kind of decisions. I think the most aggravating thing for anybody is to be in a shop and it's 3:00 and we don't have a part, and that's got to be overnighted. We missed the boat for today. It'll be the next day.
Right.
That's all just efficiency going by the wayside.
And just tallying up the money going out the window, because if those wheels aren't turning, it's costing you.
Yes. In today's world with trucks too, almost every trucking company has 3 to 5 trucks sitting on the fence. So if that truck, let it sit there, let it get repaired, but get the driver back, get him to making money so he's happy, and then the whole thing flows better.
There you go. So I'm curious, we were talking about you kind of starting this journey. What were some of the pain points that hit you when you were trying to get your business off the ground? What are some of the stuff that you had to work through and figure out?
Yeah, that's kind of a hard one for me to remember back then. However, I would say probably some financial resources were a
Sure.
challenge. But when I say they're a challenge, I don't believe that they're a detriment. When you have to figure out things on your own, it makes you smarter, makes you more appreciative of what things happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Along the lines, I've able to come across some great people like Mark Reeder, the other one I'm in business with at my trucking company, just real honest, down to earth people that you can have conversations with, whether you're making money or losing, and they're all 100% willing to jump in and push for the better cause of the company.
Right. Right.
So
No, that is a fantastic point. And how you talked about the fact of having to figure it out, it really does stick with you in those situations when you're kind of put, with your feet to the fire, back against the wall. Those are the ones you learn from the most, and it sticks with you long term.
one of the best analogies of that I like to do is we align trucks here all the time, and our customers are always, well, I'm only getting 60 to 70,000 miles on my steer tires. Well, we have learned that if you put Michelin's or Bridgestones on the steer, balance them, you get 120 to 150 depending on what your usage is. Our usage, it falls into that line. Well, if you take that to a cents per mile, and then you take it to even farther, a 600,000 mile lifespan of the truck, the Michelin's and the Bridgestone aren't more expensive, but your cost per mile is way low. You're spending less money trying to figure out why that tire didn't wear, why this didn't happen. So right there, if you like I say, if you figure your CPM, I big about CPM per mile for the tires, it's way less. So works out well on that.
Right back to all those complicated calculations going on behind the scenes. And
Right.
that's fantastic insight. I mean, that right there can make the difference in the long haul.
Yes, it can. It can.
Most definitely. So let's go this route. You started your company. You've started many companies at this point, but versus when you started your company versus today, what would you say the differences are, good or bad, for someone trying to get in the market today?
I would say probably when I started, maybe a little bit of dumb luck. I didn't really imagine how big it was going to get. If I had to go out and start a trucking company today, I think it's very tough to create a profit with 5 to 10 trucks. You have to be over that. You have to be in the 15 to 25 range, and then starting from ground zero, it really takes a lot of equity to get rolling. Now, What we've done over the years is, like I said, I was an owner operator, so I understand all the driver challenges that they have, because I drove on the road for about 3 years. I still go drive on the road sometimes. And then the shop, when we started it, we had kind of a steady flow of income. So then that allowed us to buy a truck, buy another, learn from a mistake or two. And as we've gone, then we've just increased over the years and got bigger and bigger as the money has flowed in to acquire another truck. Just to go out and buy 10, that's a pretty big jump.
Sure.
So
For someone starting out just as an owner operator and has those big goals, man, someday I do want to get to that 15, that 20 truck market. What would you say is a good solid roadmap for them to set out on?
a good solid roadmap for me, especially with owner operators, is know what your CPM is today.
Okay.
When I was an owner operator, I had 2 checking accounts. I paid myself as a driver, and the truck money was the truck money. I never touched it.
Okay.
So what I lived on was my money, and I probably paid myself a little bit less. And that's where I think owner operators of today really need to understand um, whether they're making money and the cost per mile going out the stack. Fuel is your biggest expense in trucking right now.
Yeah, it's the bloodline for sure.
So you need to keep that fuel mileage, the mile per gallon, at a higher level. Try to really work around where you're purchasing your fuel to keep that CPM down. And back to the main point that I was trying to make is, once you know that, you know how much tires, you know how much the truck makes, then that will tell you, okay, I'm making $1.40 a mile, let's say. I can pay a driver 50 cents a mile. I can pay him 60 cents. But these are all the factors that I've got to know. And I got to know what that truck generates every month so I can make all the expenses.
That's fantastic. So not only are you monitoring and making sure that you're getting the optimum amount of finances in, but also balancing that, not just saying, hey, I got a big payday, I'm going to go out and have a fancy dinner, I'm going to splurge, but we're going to make a paycheck so we can live, but we're going to invest in this company.
Yes. So investing in the company is really the key to it.
Right.
If you want the company to survive, don't take the money out of the company. Invest in it, live a normal means. I'm not telling you to, live on the streets downtown, but just be reasonable with your living.
Sure. Did you find in your point of expanding your business, did you find that there was a point that was harder than another? Was it easy to go from 1 truck to 2, or did you find that there was more of a pain point to go from 4 to 5, or is there any difference there for you?
I probably never increased by that much. I probably just grabbed 2 or 3 a year as we went through it. When we did start our trucking company, and this is how the industry has evolved, we had 10 trucks and we had 15 owner operators. Well, the owner operator market has kind of diminished. So now we're just up to 25 trucks, and I think we have about 2 owner operators left.
Right.
So the owner operator market, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
The owner operator market is coming back. So I can see that shifting with our owner operators. Also, I have one-on-one conversations with them about CPM, how we can make that truck be better for them and keep our cost per mile running cost per mile low.
Fantastic. So talking a little bit about the CPM there, what are some of the services or like softwares that you think would really benefit a new trucker to really be able to track all this efficiently? Is there anything out there that you're partial to?
You know what? I'm partial to QuickBooks.
Okay, fair enough.
A simple spreadsheet. Truck drivers of today's world too, and back when I was trucking, you have a lot of stagnant time. You can only drive 11. You can't sleep for 10. So you're there. So if you figure out what this load pays, what your cost per mile is, and just start working them and start fine tuning every load that you have, at the end of the month, it all just flows together and boom. So a spreadsheet is a simple thing. You can put your formulas in there, cost per mile, fuel, everything, and you can build your own spreadsheet of how you want it to look at the end of the day.
Fantastic. How much of a struggle did you find it? Because I mean, obviously, one of the big pain points for especially an owner operator, right, is you're driving all day. So, you've got to do all this business stuff as well, but that's really hard when you're driving. So then you're stuck doing it all in your downtime. How much discipline did it take there for you to really keep up on top of that and not let it start to drown you? Because I can imagine how much of a struggle it would be.
That's actually my very first year. I didn't do very good at that.
Sure.
Well, when it came tax time, I think my wife and I spent at least 2 days with receipts all over the living room floor, putting it all together.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is crazy. This is stupid. So as I was an owner operator, I actually had my own envelopes every trip. And on the front of it had fuel report, how much that load paid. So at the end of the year, I had trip reports already, and then they were on the spreadsheet of a total of those envelopes. So all it was at that second year was just pushing a button. It was all done.
That had to make you laugh a little bit, right? Laugh and cry on the inside.
It really did. And that really only took me probably an hour to 2 a week to get all my loads in order. So at the end of the year, they were done.
So a little bit of commitment goes a long ways there.
Yes, it does.
Fantastic. So you've kind of dove into, like we said, a lot of the different avenues within trucking. You're into the repair shop, you're into the owner operator. I'm sorry, the trucking side of it, but also the leasing, and you guys do trailers and all that stuff too, right?
Yes.
So you have a lot of drivers coming across your way, both ones that are on your staff and then ones that are just out and about to get the service and whatnot. What are some of the pain points that you're hearing in the industry today from that wider perspective that you see?
Well, some of the pain points that I see are the parking and the fuel mileage. And I keep going back to that fuel mileage because it's such a big deal.
It's important. Yeah.
Yeah, but parking is another thing in today's world. You're tired at the end of the day. You try to find a spot.
Yeah.
We're all made different. Some of us like to get up at 4 a.m. Some of us like to work till midnight. Well, them poor guys that are working till midnight are in a struggle to find a place to park.
Right.
As I go across the country, I see less and less rest areas. I really think that the state needs to, they just need to have bathrooms and more parking. Think about all the rest areas when they were built. They were probably built in the 60s when the interstate system was built, 70s area.
Right.
Not near as many trucks on the road. So the states really need to come up with a plan that every, 200 miles, we have a 30-spot opening with a bathroom for trucks. That would relieve a lot of the truck stop pains.
Yeah.
Sure. And I don't think so. Let's take a interstate system. They usually redo them in 10-mile sections. It wouldn't take hardly any more money to make a pull off, put a bathroom there with 30 spots for trucks and 10 for cars. Out of the whole 10-mile structure, it'd probably only be like a 5% increase on that whole bid.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I totally see how that would make a huge difference.
And that's where I feel our congressmen and our political people need to be going to relieve some of this industry pressure a little bit, is what I'm trying to say. Right.
Do you feel like politically the industry kind of gets overlooked?
I don't know about overlooked. We take it back in the day of the 70s. The truck driver was glorified. Think about how many trucking shows we had. Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh yeah.
Will and Sonny, Moving On, BJ and the Bear. It was kind of a glorified job. Now we've kind of, and I don't know why, but the shift has demonized it. And I don't like it, but they've demonized it a little bit to where trucks are bad, and they're not. They really have to understand, in our country, and as vast as it is, that's your main line of getting products delivered.
Oh yeah.
Is the truck. So
everything hits a truck.
Yes, it does.
Well, two more things I really want to pick your brain on while I got you here. One, as you've been in the industry and as an owner, especially across multiple facets throughout the industry, we know this is one of those industries that has ups and downs, throughout the seasons, right? What advice would you give to someone starting out to prepare for those ups and downs and make it through successfully?
Okay. That's a good one. Ups and downs. So, middle of last year, huge up.
Yeah.
And some of the things we did, we stocked up on tires a little bit.
Okay.
So we bought we probably have 100 tires out there, 150 area, because money was plentiful. So we bought some extra tires. That's a big expense when it comes time to replace them. Industry is kind of down right now. It's not the best. Well, our tires are already banked up, so we're not laying any more cash out right now. What you're making in your CPM is pretty tight. So, anything that you can plan on. Also, when times are really great, you probably better not be, oh, hey, it's so great, we should go ahead and buy another house.
Right.
Really analyze those situations of what you want to do versus what you need to do. Okay. So that would be one thing we have done. When times are good, just be cautious, because the challenging times are going to come and you really cannot control them.
Yeah.
So we were selling trucks for a really good used price. Now it's kind of back in the tank a little bit. So you gotta balance it.
Fantastic advice. Another point I want to talk to you about is relationships and connections within the industry. Obviously, you start out with minimal when you get into the game, and there's some emphasis on gaining good relationships and connections throughout the industry as you go. Hopefully you can get some dedicated routes and stuff like that. Moving on, how much has that proven to be true in your experience?
I would say relationships, they're a big part, but I wouldn't say they're the number one thing. The number one thing in my idea is just always doing what's right. It may not be the most profitable for you, but you need to take care of what you've done. And that means in our shop, if we've overhauled something and the customer has a challenge with it, we make sure that if it is our issue, let's take care of it, no matter what it takes. If it's not, that always is another balance. But do what you say you're going to do and just take care of that will propel you, I feel, in the industry and sleeping at night.
Love it. That is fantastic advice. Well, we're coming up towards the end of the show here, and I want to pick your brain with some final thoughts. Anything we haven't touched on that you think is just really solid advice for somebody that wants to get into the industry and grow for the long haul?
One main advice that I have is don't. A lot of people think an 8-hour a day is a full day.
Sure.
Truck drivers work 11.
Yeah.
Thinking that you are going to sit back and control all this, you might be a little bit skewed on your thinking. Don't be afraid to jump in, drive a truck if you need to, change a tire if you have to. All that saves the company money. Yeah. So if you go into it with the right work ethic, and that means just do whatever it takes. You can put pencils to it all day long, but when you jump in and help out, the others see what you do. Yeah. And then they want to, they want to be part of that boat that's rowing forward and not backwards. It really does. It creates a culture too of everybody works hard.
Yeah. So no, I love that. I caught early on how you said you'll still get out there sometimes and run those routes. Got to. That's fantastic, man.
Yeah. Yes. Well, so
now go ahead.
I was done.
Well, man, I truly appreciate you taking some time to let us pick your brain and share some of your expertise from the industry. Obviously, you guys got locations in Topeka and Emporia. Give the listeners a shout, just how they can get a hold of you and where they can find you at.
Okay, you can go to Hoyt'sTruckCenter.com. You can go to Hoyt'sTrailerCenter.com. That's where you can buy trailers. Any repair work you need, go to Hoyt's Truck Center, leave us a message, give us a call, 785-235-3131. We, like I say, any of this northeastern Kansas area, we will bring a service truck out, take care of any problems that you have. We also run 724 for emergency breakdowns.
All right.
We do not do maintenance in the middle of the night. But if you're broke down and you need to go, give us a holler. We'll do whatever we can to get you rolling.
So you don't like those 2 a.m. Hey, I think I need an air filter.
Right. Exactly. That definitely can wait till the morning.
Fair enough. Well, man, thank you again so much for all you do in the industry and for letting us take you away from your business for just a little bit to pick your brain. It means a ton.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. For all of you watching, we appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe and follow along. Until next time, stay safe out there.